Go get it. Go girl. What a good girl. Hey, what's up YouTube? So it is a crazy hot day out here in Penobscot, Maine. I am doing a little bit of exhaust work on my Miata. I just had it in the garage here on the lift, and I've taken the exhaust off. I developed, I think, a leak right on my exhaust manifold gasket that was being pretty loud. And so I think my catalytic converter might be plugged up. So I've taken the exhaust off. Something inside the cat is rattling around, so that's definitely not good. So I think that's my problem, but before I do anything else, I'm going to take a little spin around the block on open headers. Here we go. I've got my old exhaust manifold out, and the only real issue I ran into is where this header pipe will connect to this Boss Frog straight or test pipe here, and so the bolt holes here on the header I got just need to be enlarged a little bit on the outside edge. So it'll bolt up nice and clean. They do go through, but it's kind of an angle, so I'm just grinding out a little bit extra on these two holes here, and then everything should go together pretty nicely. Oh, someone's pulling in. Maybe it's the ups man. Nope. Shit. But I'm using it. I've got in tungsten carbide tip on my Dremel here, and that makes pretty quick work of the stainless steel here. So like I said, just a tiny little bit of an enlargement on it, but other than that, these fit right in. eBay special, had no trouble putting them in at all. So from what I can gather, these results are not typical of eBay headers. I've watched quite a few videos on YouTube of eBay header installs, both on Miatas and other types of cars. I've seen people trying to hammer them down in there with rubber mallet. These slid right in with plenty of space. The gasket went on a little bit tight, but these slid right over the bolts. I just got to screw it down. Pretty simple. I don't know if maybe it's easier to get down in there when your car is up in the air. My car's actually on the lift right now. Lift it up just a little bit. So I'm going to bolt this on. I'm still waiting for the rest of my catback. I don't know if it's going to come today. It's getting kind of late, and the ups guy still isn't here. But he's come as late as 8 o'clock at night before, so it's possible. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this. Yay! Thank you, ups man. Alright, so this is all on, just loosely mocked up. I just got to tighten everything down. The only real trouble I had is where this test pipe meets up with this header, and this is just kind of big, so I ground down these bolt holes just a little bit so they line up straight. I had initially ordered an IKR catback exhaust, which came with a resonator to replace the cat. but that ended up being back ordered for 3 or 4 months. So I went with this Cobalt exhaust from Miata, and that's where I got this Boss Frog test pipe, and I got the 2.5 inch test pipe instead of the 2 inch, which I think would have fit a little bit better. But this isn't too bad. I just didn't want to spend the $250-300 to buy a cat right now, but I will in the next couple weeks, I think. So this is just temporary for now, since my old cat, I think, is plugged up and it was welded in place too. So I'm going to tighten everything down and we'll see how she sounds. Hello. So my Miata has come out of the garage looking like a whole new car, pretty much. This was the initial source of my problem, was a bad exhaust manifold gasket, and it started to separate and was buzzing in there. So after I got in the garage, I found out there was something rattling around in my catalytic converter too. So it came out with a full stainless exhaust, and these wheels I picked up, I went with someone. They were picking up a used car they had purchased, and these were in the guy's garage. I got them for $200 for these OZ Chrono HTs. They're 16 by 7s, I think. And they got some nice sticky icky BFG tires on them. And there's a nice Cobalt exhaust tip. And I also put on these side mirrors. These Erebuni side mirrors are pretty nice. Really changes the whole look of the car. So it's definitely looking way more aggressive, and sounds a lot more aggressive too. Sits in there perfectly. The exhaust tip is centered right where it should be. And my old exhaust came off very easily. This is not typical for me, at least, and with my experience with exhausts and cars living here in Maine. Generally, if I was to do this on a car that I have been driving here in Maine for quite a few years, or has spent its time above the salt belt, the exhaust is rusted so bad. It's going to involve a lot of cursing, sawzalling, oxy torches, broken bolts, seized bolts, real pain in the ass. So this was actually very nice. It was actually kind of fun putting that exhaust in, because everything went so smoothly, and that is generally not my experience. But it's because this car has spent its entire life up until this year in Texas, and it was shipped up here last year by the guy I bought it from. And the Erebuni side mirrors I put on the car, I've actually had those mirrors for well over 10 years now. They were actually on one of my first cars, was a 96 Plymouth Neon, and it was pretty ricey. I was a teenager at the time. I had like 17-inch rims on it, blacked out projector headlights and taillights, and a nice big old metal spoiler, and those mirrors. The interior parts on the dash were painted like metallic lime green and stuff. So, but I was young, that was a long time ago, and mean, it ended up being a pretty reliable car, but I hung on to those mirrors and figured that eventually I'd find a car they would look good on. And they actually bolt right into the factory mirror holes on the Miata. I still need to put this one on. I stripped one of the screws trying to take this mirror off. I'm definitely very happy with how far I brought this car. I've only had it a little over 2 months, and I'm really loving it. This is such a blast. It's a fun car to drive, and I think maybe next summer we'll go forced induction. I might start piecing together parts for a turbo. I definitely didn't need to do more homework because I want to make sure I do it right. But stay tuned. Any comments about my car, I'd love to hear them. I've also got a bunch of parts coming in the mail over the course of the next few weeks. I got a brand new set of vacuum lines and coolant lines from Carbon Miata. So I'll be putting those on. I also ordered from Moss Miata a shifter rebuild kit and a mild performance upgrade for the brakes, because my brakes are in pretty bad shape. But I got ABC green stuff pads and rotors all around, so that'll be nice. I also ordered an intake and new plugs, wires, a couple other little things like that. So stay tuned for more Miata content. Subscribe, and I hope to see you all